Good evening. You're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. The State Audit Institution submits its 2024 annual report to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. With more than 3 million Omani riyals, an agreement is signed to finance the Visitors Center for Kalhat Archaeological City in South Al-Sharqiya Governorate. And Nama Water Services continues to implement the Water Network Rehabilitation Project in South Al-Sharqiya Governorate, with the completion rate in Sur reaching 90%. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. The State Audit Institution has submitted its 2024 annual report to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. The report included several topics which resulted with the institution's activities and its specialization, expanding its monitoring over government units, authorities, investments and companies subject to its audit in accordance with the approved 2024 annual audit plan. The report indicated that the state audit institutions carried out 225 audits, and which resulted in 172 audit reports. The findings were communicated to the relevant entities, which responded by taking corrective actions and implementing the State Audit Institution's recommendations. The annual report also included the review of various topics within the government units, such as the audit of a state's final account for the year 2024, the review of tax collection and assessment, the review of financial and administrative activities, and the evaluation of the performance of certain directorates and departments within these units. The report also featured an overview of key media and awareness initiatives undertaken by the institution, which amounted to 187 activities. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of the Royal Office, received in his office today His Excellency Azzeddine Mohammed Attis, Ambassador of the Republic of Tunisia to the Sultanate of Oman, to bid him farewell at the end of his tour of duty. His Excellency the Minister of the Royal Office praised the ambassador's efforts that were exerted to boost bilateral relations and cooperation, wishing him success in his future endeavors. On his turn, His Excellency the Ambassador expressed his appreciation for the cooperation extended to him. He also underscored the depth of bilateral relations between the two countries. The Ministry of Heritage and Tourism signed a financing agreement with Oman LNG Development Foundation for Kalhat Archaeological City Visitor Center project. The project, with a total value of 3 million Omani riyals, will be implemented on an area of 5,000 square meters. The project consists of 2 museum exhibition halls to display the discovered archaeological artifacts, as well as other facilities, including administrative offices, an outdoor event space, outdoor canopies, and parking spaces. The agreement was signed by His Excellency Salim bin Mohammed Al Mahrouki, Minister of Heritage and Tourism. 5 leading international architectural design firms have submitted their projects to compete in the Muscat Municipal Design Competition 2025. The competition aims to set new standards in urban development, contributing to enriching urban landscape, preserving cultural heritage, and enhancing Muscat Governorate's position as a leading global destination. The competition is part of Muscat Municipality's efforts to enhance the city's visual identity, support sustainability concepts, and encourage innovative design solutions that consider both people and place. At a total cost of 7 million Omani Riyals, Nama Water Services continues to implement the network rehabilitation project in the governorate of South Sharqiya. The project has reached 90% completion in the Wilaya of Sur, while the rest of the governorate's wilayas have recorded varying rates. The Nama Water Services exerts great efforts towards the expansion of water networks in the governorate by using the modern technologies in the field. It is worth noting that such projects will play a great role to ensure sustainable water security in the governorate. Still to come in our news bulletin. The Royal Oman Police continues its efforts to enhance its readiness during the Dhofar Kharif season. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A training, governance, development seminar organized by the Ministry of Labour discussed the most prominent challenges facing government and private institutions in the training sector. The seminar presented practical initiatives and plans to enhance the efficiency of Omani cadres and align training programs with labour market needs. The seminar was held under the auspices of His Excellency Sayyid Salim bin Musallim Al-Busaidi, Under Secretary of the Ministry of Labour for Human Resources Development. The Royal Navy of Oman's vessel Shabab Oman II has concluded its participation in a vibrant maritime festival held at the port of Le Havre in the French Republic. The event gathered tall ships from around the world, celebrating global seafaring heritage and maritime diplomacy. Following the festival, the ship now embarks on the next leg of its international journey, participating in a 4-stage tall ship race across European waters. This voyage marks the ship's 7th international tour, symbolically named the Glories of the Seas 2025, as part of its continued mission to promote cultural exchange and showcase Oman's rich maritime legacy on the world stage. The Royal Oman Police, through its various formations, continues its efforts to bulk up its readiness and responsiveness during the Dhofar Kharif season in order to maintain the highest level of public order and security. The visitors are heading to the governorate of Dhofar to enjoy the Kharif exceptional weather. Royal Oman Police dedicates the resources and logistics necessary to make visitors' experience hassle-free in coordination with relevant authorities in the area. Royal Oman Police advises visitors to Dhofar to drive safely and to stop whenever needed to fuel up their vehicles or re-energize to resume the trip. Royal Oman Police has strategically mobilized its forces on the road to Salalah and other wilayas in Dhofar in order to respond swiftly to any traffic incidents and ease the traffic congestion if needed. For the international world, Israel continues its attack on Gaza, raising the death toll of Palestinians as Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is due to meet with U.S. President at White House, while Yemen military says it has successfully thwarted Israeli airstrikes. More details in the following report.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu heads to Washington to meet U.S. President Donald Trump, who has been pushing for a ceasefire that might lead to an end to the 21-month war in Gaza. Israel and Hamas are considering a new U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal that would pause the war, free Israeli hostages, and send much-needed aid flooding into Gaza. It also aims to open broader talks about ending the conflict. Negotiations have repeatedly stalled over Hamas' demands for an end to the war and complete Israeli withdrawal from Gaza, while Israel wants Hamas to surrender and disarm before it ends the war, while the final details have yet to be agreed to by the two sides. On the ground, 7 Palestinians were killed and dozens injured in an Israeli airstrike on a residential building in the Al-Rimal neighborhood in Gaza City. The targeted building sits a few meters away from the China Global Television Network office in the city, where journalists were reporting as the bombing unfolded. According to the health authorities, in the past 24 hours alone, Israeli attacks have killed at least 80 Palestinians and injured 304 others. Gaza's health authorities yesterday said that the Palestinian death toll in the Gaza Strip has risen to over 57,000, with more than 136,000 people injured since the conflict between Hamas and Israel erupted on October 7, 2023. In another development, Israel's military launched airstrikes early today, targeting ports and facilities held by Yemenis Houthi, and they responded with missile fire targeting Israel. The attacks came after a suspected Houthi attack targeting a ship in the Red Sea that caught fire and took on water, later forcing its crew to abandon the vessel. The Israeli military said it struck Houthi-held ports at Hodeidah, Ras Isa, and Salif. Their military spokesman, Brigadier General Yahya Saria, said that its air defense forces succeeded in confronting the Israelis. The Houthis then responded with an apparent missile attack on Israel. The Israeli military said it attempted to intercept the 2 missiles that Houthis fired, but they appeared to make impact, though there were no immediate reports of injuries from the attack.
Typhoon Danas brought heavy winds and torrential rains to parts of Taiwan today. 2 people were killed and over 300 were injured on the island's densely populated west coast. The storm lost intensity as it moved northwestward towards the Taiwan Strait, past the capital Taipei. At least 334 people suffered injuries and over 3,400 people were forced to evacuate, mostly from mountainous areas around Taiwan's southern port city of Kaohsiung. The typhoon knocked out power for over 580,000 households across the island. The storm made landfall in Chaoyang County on the west coast late yesterday, with maximum sustained winds of 144 kilometers per hour, which at first intensified, then weakened as it made its way north. It dumped to over 600 millimeters of rain across central Taiwan over the weekend. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The state-audited institution submits its 2024 annual report to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. With more than 3 million Omani riyals, an agreement is signed to finance the Visitors Center of Kalhat Archaeological City in South Al-Sharqiya Governorate. And Nama Water Services continues to implement the water network rehabilitation project in South Al-Sharqiya Governorate, with a completion rate in Sur reaching 90%. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin. From all of us here at the studios and the newsroom, it's good night and stay safe.